And I'll start from the beginning. Welcome to the World Farmers Markets Coalition April Studio, Farmers Markets Mapping Part 3. It turns out that, mapping topic is so vast and so interesting and popular. We're doing a Part 3, and each of the mapping topic is a little different. So, we looked at, literally putting your farmers markets on a, your own map, like Google Map or, whatever the local map you have. We also have, sorry, I'm letting people in. We also have looked at, mapping your own market, how to arrange your stalls and your vendors. Today, we're going to look at how to place a farmer's market where there is a lot of difficulties to have your own space. I know that I will speak for myself in the US where I live, Canada, Italy, some European countries, we have the luxury of having our own space, even though we have a lot of challenges as well. But there are other countries around the world and cities where there's really just no space for farmers markets, and then there's little to no political, financial, and infrastructure support. So here today, we're talking about how we might be innovative and creative to see how we can develop farmers markets where there is no farmers markets to having a dedicated space for authentic farmers market. Earlier session, we talked with Vietnam, Ha from Hanoi, Vietnam, and Naima from Bangladesh. Both of them are our board members of the coalition, and they spoke about the situation in South Asia and East Asia, what it looks like. At this session, we have a guest speaker, Bone Sansasi, to speak about the case studies of Kampala, Uganda, and Salarm Akaba to speak about how Ghana might be able to follow some of the footsteps that Kampala has been trailblazing. So welcome again. I'm going to share my screen to show the presentation. Okay, can you see my screen? I'll give me your thumbs up. Great, thank you. Okay, so here we are. We're in the session 2. We will start by Bone's presentation, and I might have a bunch of questions to stop him and have him answer my questions. And then we will have a conversation moderated by me, but really the conversation between Bone and Salarm to figure out, to explore what possibilities we might have. And I hope that the audience will also join, and this might, be a helpful, interesting session for you all. Our usual community agreements, we're here dedicating our, precious 1 hour to be together. So let's be present here and be engaged. And we're naturally going to have different, multiple viewpoints because we represent the world. We will hold our judgments and disagreements softly, and we trust everybody's intent in speaking the content that they do, while acknowledging the impact that they might have, on others. We will listen to learn, but also ask to understand if anything is unclear instead of assuming. We will make space for other people. We will also take space for ourselves when and if we need to speak. And because we have, a number of people here and it's such a short time, we will think in sentences, not paragraphs. Somebody told me this in one of the, fellowship trainings I've had, and that really changed the way I think about public speaking. So I just added it there. Okay, so introduction, presentation. I just have a couple of things to say. I just want to bring us back to our working definition. We had a whole session of studio on defining, working on our definition of farmers markets. And we have landed so far on this. And the idea of our definition is to make it, as broad as possible so that we can cover all the farmers markets from around the world where our members belong. And yet we have very specific critical components of what makes it a farmer's market. So it's a recurring and intentionally coordinated assembly of local farmers or their representatives selling directly to the public local agricultural products they have grown, harvested, and or processed. So let's just let that sit for 1 second. This definition does not include anything about space, indoors, outdoors, its own space, dedicated space or not. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and, coordinated, who manages. We talked a lot about, what that word should be and what that might mean. Or does it matter who manages? Is that the, civil society? Is this a government? Is this a farmer? Is this a, consumer? There are many different options and combinations. So we'll look at, does it matter who and, who coordinates a farmer's market? So we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So farmers markets around the globe, again, some countries, including where I am, the United States, and some of us are very lucky to have not. This is also very challenging everywhere, but we are lucky to have our own spaces for farmers markets. But many cities around the world are lacking farmers markets and their own space, but they do have a citywide network of, public, like a larger public markets that are not farmers markets. So there are markets happening where people come shop. And they also do have farmers bring their produce to sell at local markets. Or informal markets. The difference between local, informal markets, we're going to talk about that here briefly. So there are some components, ingredients of what a farmer's market can be and what we can do to create one. So earlier session, we talked about having, making a blend, mix of retail vendors. So that could be like vendors selling different things and reselling, vendors and farmer vendors at the markets throughout the city. And we've seen that happening in Vietnam this morning. So now I'm going to turn it over to Bone to tell us about the Kampala, Uganda situation. Bone, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also very happy to be here. And I hope whatever I'm going to share with you will be what you expect anyway. My name is Census Bone, as Robin has explained, and I'm here to share with you the experiences of farmers markets in Kampala. My topic is already integrating farmers markets into existing markets in Kampala. And I adopted this particular graphic you are seeing on your screen from a website belonging to what they are calling Southside Farmers. And I adopted this just to illustrate to you that what I'm talking about is not speculative, but there are some really existing farmers markets. So can we move on, please? Yeah, now in 2020, Advocates for Public Spaces, the organization I'm working with, released a report. And that report was carried out on the different markets within Kampala. I wanted to see where and how and what state these markets are in. So we came out with a report that revealed that Kampala has a total of 102 marketplaces. These markets were various types. We had formal markets, we had temporary markets, we had informal markets, temporary, weekly, seasonal, Sunday markets, all the variety were there. But a key characteristic of these markets that is at least relevant to this particular topic we are discussing are the following. These markets, especially the formal markets, those are your permanent markets. These have physical structures. Actually, now you find in Kampala that the city or the government is building modern markets for the farmers, and it is accommodating a lot of farmers. It is accommodating a lot of vendors who have been operating on the streets. So this has come in and it has really changed the landscape. Although when you go to the private markets, to the informal markets, the structures are not that permanent or that good, but they are bearable. Then another characteristic that is defining the markets is accessibility. You saw from the map that we have a crowd of markets, and at least within a radius of about 800 meters, one can find a market and they can buy the basic foods at least. The only challenge when it comes to accessibility, anyway, we need to point out that we have also a rich road network, so people can easily cycle, easily walk, easily run, easily drive their cars to the markets. But when it comes to accessing the markets inside the markets, that's where the problem comes in, because now most of our markets are really crowded. You'll see in my pictures below that it is really hard to navigate within the markets. Another component that characterizes them is the comfort within the markets. You find that because of the overload, because of the many products that come in, so sanitation is a problem, movement is a problem, finding place to sit is a problem. So in terms of us who go into the markets to recreate, to interact with other people, we find it a bit challenging. So we are not that comfortable in interacting with the people that we find in the markets. Then another key item to look at is the products that are in our markets. Our markets in Uganda are really rich. You find almost everything that you have dreamt of. Fruits, vegetables, tomatoes, whatever, the varieties are really there. And it happens in all of them. No matter even if it is a Sunday market or a monthly market, at least it has a very good variety of products. And then the other component is safety. Safety during the day, at least that is how the report revealed. During the day, it is quite safe because there are so many people in the markets. But now when it comes to evening or late in the night, it becomes a bit risky because some of these markets have no fence, have no boundary perimeter fence to protect the people. So bad elements can access them from any corner. But then when it comes to safety in the more permanent government funded markets, the situation is a bit better because they are better lit. They have security personnel guarding them. So they are, in terms of safety, you can say there is a big contrast between the private markets and then the public markets. And then when it comes to management, of course, we have now a new law passed last year. We call it the Markets Act 2003. It has come in to improve the workings and management of markets in the country. This legislation has put in place, especially for the public markets, put in place a team, let's say management team that is we are calling market masters. And these are the administrators of the markets. They are the overall. Now, when you come to interact with these people, advocates public spaces has also, in order to formalize ourselves with the new law, we have established something we are calling the annual markets conference, where we are bringing together different actors in the
Tony, I have a question. This is before you move on. So you're talking about markets, all markets, or are we talking about farmers markets only on this slide?
No, in this slide, I'm talking about markets in general.
Markets in general.
In the
Okay,
slide,
that's what I thought.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a background because some of the issues will relate to what the farmers markets are experiencing. Yeah. So the picture in my left corner, Wandegea market, you can see it has strips with the green, yellow, and red. That shows you some of the permanent markets, the government markets, how they look like. Then the picture on the right, that is revealing to you the crowdedness, the lack of accessibility within the markets. Then this other one in the lower left corner is showing you the level of sanitation, the discomfort that people are going through when they're accessing the markets. Yeah. We move on.
After this one? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yes. So this picture also in the sorry.
I think there's a delay between you and me. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, here.
Yes. So the picture on the top corner, you see that lady arranging the various food products. That is how I wanted to illustrate to you the varieties that are found in our markets. So it also shows you that foods or farmers package their foods in these plastic bags, and they easily wrap them up when they are leaving or when they are selling them. Then the picture in the middle, you can see cabbages and tomatoes in the background. That is incidentally, it is a farmer's market. It happens every Wednesday in the city of Jinja. And then it has the problem of sanitation operation space because people are displaying these foods on the ground. Then the picture on the right is what Advocates Public Spaces has done in order to address this operation problem. We are trying to remove to encourage people to stop selling food on the ground, and we are giving them these tables such that it can have at least a platform and eliminate the contamination. Then the picture below there with the APS in the background, that is now the management. These are the administrators I've been talking about, and we have now started engaging with them. We have established working relation with them, and we are sharing a lot of information with them. It is these people that have farmers coming to their markets. It is these people that are managing vendors in their markets. And now, as let's say, whatever solutions we would like to see in the markets, it is these people that will implement them, and our advocacy campaigns will be much easier because we have now people who we can relate with. Yeah, can move on, please. Yes, now this is the gist of my discussion. So what is the situation of farmers markets in Kampala with the other background that we have discussed? Of course, in Uganda, farmers markets have existed and they have been mostly in rural areas. So the phenomenon is a bit new when it comes to Kampala and other urban areas. Farmers markets also, when they were being introduced in the urban areas, they came as weekly markets. You would find they were dedicated a day where farmers would bring their products and they sell once in a week. But currently, what is happening is that vendors, let's say traders, have taken over. So you find that now you find very few farmers and more vendors. They simply buy from the farmers and come and sell. Yet the idea was for the farmers to come in and do what? And do the actual selling. Then the other point to look out for is we don't know where they are actually located. We don't know the composition in the existing farmers markets. We don't know the quality in which they are. We have visited a few, but we don't have a yardstick in which to measure some of these things. And then the other thing that when I was moving around while compiling this information, I realized that the trends of urbanization, Uganda is urbanizing at a very fast rate. So the trends of urbanization, people now are taking more into eating organic foods. They don't want to buy foods in those confined environments. So those changing habits are creating, people are coming up with creative ways in which to sell and to access food. So this is one of the drivers of the farmers markets that we are seeing that are cropping up in Kampala. Then farmers markets are also at the moment upscale. The farmers markets, like you know it, Robin, in your area, in your home there, is being incorporated in Kampala, but it is now happening in the upscale. So we have a division between the informal communities and then the uptown communities. Yes, we can move on, please. Yeah, so these are some of the examples of the farmers markets we have. We have a farmers market in Entebbe. This is my area where I'm residing. One in Jinja. This is Eastern Uganda. And then this other photo where you are seeing they have an umbrella on top of them is happening in Bogolobi. That is also an upscale residential area. One thing that is overriding in all these, at least these three pictures, is that heading I put on top, Southside Farmers Market, Bogolobi. Now, this is a group of Ugandans and foreigners who came together, and I think they are the brainchild of farmers markets that we are seeing in Uganda. They are organizing them in these different places. What they have done is they go to where people converge, especially on weekends, in bars, in sports grounds, and they organize their farmers markets around those places, such that the crowd that had gone, let's say, to witness a rugby game or to go to a children's park can come in and buy these foods. I've been there, they are very well organized, their products are really authentic, and it is encouraging. It is really encouraging.
So these are, can I ask you a question? So these are upscale, as you say, uptown markets, and they have their own space for the most part?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are finding their own space. It is not a public space, but they are finding it. Maybe they are renting. I'm not so sure of how the arrangement they are
Because
operating
they
in.
have the money, it's upscale, and they
Yeah,
probably have a
yeah.
better
But they find,
revenue. Uh-huh.
yeah, they are finding, let's say, a bar, and then the compound of the bar, they set up their stalls and sell for a few hours. Could last from, let's say, 7 in the morning to about midday.
Got
And
it.
then in the afternoon, like that. It is not full day or full week. No. It's just
Okay.
that kind of
Okay.
thing. Yeah, these are also pictures. So this is south side markets. So you can see the different varieties, and there's a big contrast from what we saw in the background. You see the way they are displaying their products. Some are wrapped up in good plastic bags, in plastic crates. Yet in the other formal markets, you saw the confusion. People are displaying food on the ground. People are displaying food in heaps like this. So that is why now this kind of organization, cleanness, is now the one pulling. It is the one pulling these upscale residents to support the farmers market. And our hope is that when more Ugandans take up the practice of buying food from farmers markets, then it is going to spread. Yeah. Can move on. Next. Aha. Now this is a good one as well. Now this, I'm talking about the challenges of farmers markets, but I'm talking about this because I also encountered farmers in our local markets. Now this is a truck that is delivering vegetables for those farmers operating in the markets. And then this young man you see under the weight of the vegetables is how those farmers are transporting their goods in and out of the market. So some of the challenges they are facing, what they would face, one, unsupportive legislative structures. Because today morning I've been going over the new act that I talked to you about earlier, and it doesn't have anything to do with the farmers markets. It is talking about markets. It is categorizing them as seasonal markets. You were there, right? Yes, seasonal markets, temporary market, and permanent markets, and it stops there. So they have a challenge because they are not recognized in the law. Then the market operations. We are thinking that farmers, if they go to the markets the way they are, they will be maybe bullied by these traders. They may not like the experience they find. People are working in confined spaces, overcrowded. You don't have enough space where to display your goods, so that may be also a challenge. Then the subsistence agriculture practices in Uganda. This might or is likely to impact on farmers markets because the supply may not be sustained. Yes, farmers remember, subsistence, you are sharing what you are eating and what you are selling off. So it may not be enough to sustain one is staying in the market. Then we have powerful middlemen. This guy here on the trying to jump on that track could be a middleman. So for them, they are just there. They are like vultures just waiting in the middle there. So they may also challenge the existence of farmers markets or farmers in our markets. Product handling, packaging, and transportation. At least the pictures speak for themselves. Then Ugandans have this informality mentality. They take long to move on. At least by now we would have organic products in our markets, but they are slow in adopting. So it will have to, let's say it will have what has to be really voiced out, put on radio, put on newspapers, such that people get to learn. They are so confined by their religion and cultural practices. So it is challenging. You can move on. Then creating farmers corner. Is it possible? I think that is what you wanted to find out, Ruben. In my opinion, I think would need to first understand or find out where these farmers are, or the farmers markets, where they're operating from. Because as I told you, I have also visited a few, but there could be so many happening in places where we don't know. So I think it is quite it is high time we did a compilation and establish where the farmers are. The legislative framework needs to be reformed such that farmers markets can be incorporated into the policies. We need to engage with various stakeholders, market managers. I told you we already have engagement with market administrators, vendors themselves. There are vendor committees within the markets. All those need to come on board. We have farmers groups, farmers associations. All those need to come in and buy into it. They don't need to stop at selling on the farm or delivering on the market and sell in bulk. We need them to go into the markets and do the retail selling. Sensitizing communities, mindset change, that one I've talked about before. Improving infrastructure, of course, taking the food off the ground. Even if you're a farmer, you also don't need to come and sell on the ground like these other people that we have been dealing with. Adopting technology, at least technology in terms of better transportation, better communication, storage, technology in handling the food, producing on a regular basis, greenhouses, all that is what I'm referring to as adoption of technology. Next. Yeah, in my conclusion, this short presentation is an illustration of the predicament that farmers markets are going through in Kampala. The evidence is also, it is also evidence to suggest to you that feeding habits in Uganda are changing, and the opportunity for farmers markets to grow and gain prominence in Uganda is there. So it is most likely that we are going to see more of them in Kampala. Also, it is also further evidence that what I'm talking about is personal experiences. Yeah, I have not done serious research for me to be able to give you something scientific. We are having engagements with the various stakeholders on how to incorporate the subject of farmers markets into the markets. We are also planning on documentation. As I told you, we want to do a mapping of these farmers markets, and we need donor support. Maybe Robin, you know somebody who is interested in farmers markets that can come in, support us so that we can map, especially mapping. I think it is very, very important to map, because we cannot actually now engage government on seriously on this topic without knowing who the people we are dealing with, what they are dealing in. Everything is just scanty and it is not well documented, and we will need that. So thank you very much.
You need to map it. You need to study the actual impact of farmers market beyond anecdotal evidence. There's a lot to be done. So wait, before you go on, we're almost done, but like, so are you saying, hold on, the other way. Creating a farmers market corner in an existing market is possible? I mean, you kind of have it. You have a prototype of that. Are you saying it is possible?
Yeah, because now we are talking about carrying it from the upscale area where it is and putting it into the market. Yeah, it is very possible.
So that is a pilot because.
Yeah, even if it is a pilot, we already have the farmers delivering these products, although they are selling on wholesale. I've showed you a picture where we have farmers in the market, although they are dealing in one product, they are dealing in vegetables only. But that is already evidence that the farmers are likely, or there is room for them to coexist or to be accepted in the markets. So this corner, I'm also envisioning a situation where it is going to change the habits within the market, because people are now going into more organic foods. They are fed up of less chemical produced foods. So it is most likely to change the landscape.
Yeah. We also heard from Bangladesh, the biggest motivation of farmers markets was to find food that is safe, safe from chemicals. that
Yes.
literally you could like, still kill people.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bone. So now I'm doing your introduction. I wanted to intro both of you, Bone and Salon, together. So Bone, as you met, is from Kampala, Uganda, and we have Salon, Cape Coast, Ghana, who is also one of our founding board members of the World Farmers Markets Coalition. Welcome again. So quickly, you saw a lot of APS. The APS stands for Advocates for Public Spaces. That's the organization that Bonnie is with. He's a project officer there. He's worked on a number of livable cities projects in Kampala. He collaborated and collaborates currently with various partners, including the government, private, civil society to assess, design, and implement green spaces, recreation facilities, transportation policy, and fresh markets within the urban center, Main Street of Kampala. And he also puts on an annual Kampala Markets Conference to gather major food market stakeholders in Kampala. He has studied development studies from Makerere University. Salon here, he's a frequent presenter at our studio and other places for the coalition. He's an agricultural economist and senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. And he's a member of a number of prestigious organizations, both professional and academic. And he's also the founder and coordinator for the Ghana Farmers Markets Network, where he's leading efforts to establish farmers markets in Ghana and West Africa. He's also, like I said, a founding board member and regional lead for our Africa region of the World Farmers Markets Coalition. Welcome again. So these are the questions I'm going to moderate for you. And I'm really hoping that you two will have a conversation, and I will jump in. So I think this might be a very obvious question, but I'm going to ask this question anyway. Is it still better to foster direct selling? There are many challenges, as we know. I'm going to ask you to answer, both of you, why? Why? So you told me this is still where you want to go, even with all the challenges. I would like this audience to hear from you why you think this is still better. And is it possible to create a farmers markets corner? We got a definitive yes from Bone through symbiotic collaborative effort with the existing market players. Not easy, but how do we do this? And what are some potential evolving steps we can take to open an authentic, by our definition, farmers market? If we are in a city where there is no such farmers market yet. So I'm gonna drop, this is a question. So I'm going to put Bone and Salorm on the spot. Can we start with Salorm? Why is direct selling still better? Why is that the way to go? Yes,
why? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would love to comment a bit on Bonnie's presentation. That's, in fact, 95% of the scenarios that she presented in Uganda are very similar to what we also experience in Ghana. So, yes, I just wish that the questions that you are presenting, we want to learn much about this as far as the other African countries are concerned and other areas are concerned. Yes, for the direct selling, I'll always go for the direct selling. And please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Beautiful. Thank you. So for the direct selling, I will always go for the direct selling because it reduces a number of hurdles that consumers and then the producer themselves face in terms of getting the benefits of their production and then getting produce at a safe quality and affordable price. I said this because for food products, especially the fresh food products, if they are being handled by a number of people, that might be a source of contamination. And another area that we can also look at it is that if a farmer knows that this is the individual that buys from me directly, there's some kind of happiness and feeling that this is the person that I am feeding with my efforts. So there's extra satisfaction. So always go for the direct sales to the consumers rather than passing through the middlemen. Bonnie referred to them as don't go there. It's they look like vultures. Yes, it is true. If you look at our situations in Ghana, there are some times where farmers will carry their produce to the market, but they can see the market, they can see the consumers all right. But there is a middleman or a market woman that must stand in between. He buys it from the farmer at, let's say, 10 Ghana cedis, and just after buying it and turning to the consumer, that same product can be sold at 30 Ghana cedis, 35 Ghana cedis. So if the farmer were to be selling directly to the consumer, actually the consumer who knows that he would have been paying 35 Ghana cedis could have even added only 5 cedis to it. That's an extra benefit for the farmer. So for the farmers to be able to benefit much from their efforts, the direct sales will be the good area that I will be rooting for.
Thank you. What about you, Bone?
Yeah, I'm also in agreement with Salam. Direct selling is still the way to go. Not because you walk out, no, but you get fresh food. You get, for us in Uganda here, when you're buying, you get to touch the tomatoes. You get to select the sizes that you want. So if we are not doing direct selling, then it will take away that. Then we have our cultures, because when we go to the markets, we integrate with so many people. So that interaction, we really need to sustain it. I will give you a scenario. There is a woman in one of the markets where they have a farmer's day, a farmer's market every Wednesday. Now this woman is dealing in the traditional medicines, and she comes just once on the Wednesday. But incidentally, now people have copied the trend. They also bring in the medicines. But when you go in there and she interacts, she tells you how to do it, how to apply the medicine. Maybe you have a skin problem. So there is that relationship that we develop with these farmers. There are some of us who are advocating for public spaces, who are encouraging people to walk and to go out and to recreate. So markets are one of the avenues that we have, especially in Uganda, where we don't have green spaces. So it is better for people to walk, go to the markets, buy from there, and then walk back home. And they do exercise. And without now direct selling, that would be eliminated. So those are the few points I have on it.
So farmers market corner within the existing market, I can think of, as you told us, Bone, there are many challenges, there are many issues to consider. What would be the biggest hurdle, the biggest difficulty? To me, I'm not a farmers market manager. I think to be able to coexist at a market where there are also resellers, right? There's a price, I guess, competition and the product competition, to be able to be at that space of existing market, because, there's just not dedicated space for farmers market. That competition and coexisting feels like the hardest thing. What is your opinion, Bone? You've done this, so what is the biggest challenge in creating farmers markets corner?
Yeah, the biggest challenge for them would be the middlemen, because those guys, when you bring the farmer to the market, you are more or less eliminating them. So they will put up a fight. I expect that. But now with other players on board, let's say if you have the market administration on board, the farmers associations on board, and if also the message is moving out in the communities that these people are selling organic food, they are selling at low prices, then those conditions will eventually let's say, win over Yeah, we shall win over the middleman. But that is the major challenge.
So
I'm
middle people, so
envisioning.
middle person, how powerful are they? Do they go to multiple farms and buy products and they sell a lot more in quantity?
Yeah, they do. They do sell a lot of, because they put together a lot of products. Let's say somebody is dealing in pineapple, he'll go to about 6 different farms and collect all the pineapples and bring them to the market. And through that, he has accumulated a lot of wealth. So he has the money. And these middlemen have been in those markets for years. So he has a very big network of vendors, maybe people who are buying in bulk to take to other markets, hotels. So he has a very big network, and to eliminate such a person is not easy. It will be a bit hard. Some are even connected to, let's say, government officials, because they have a lot of money. They can easily corrupt the officials.
I
So
see.
when you just come in and just with the word of mouth that now want to bring in a farmer, because he sees that the opportunity is going, this farmer is going to transport the food from his farm direct to the market. So it is more or less eliminating him.
And
Yeah.
they have the transportation to accommodate, large quantity to carry, to be carried.
That may not be a problem per se, because transportation, you simply hire a truck. I can even wake up today, just say tomorrow, hire a truck and load off my good and take to the market. And when you reach the market, as long as you pay the market dues, the fees they charge for you to deliver products in the market, once you pay that, then you are free to sell to whoever you want. So transportation is not an issue. The transportation issue is on the way they handle the food when it is being transported. But accessing transportation is quite easy. It's not a
Well,
challenge.
it would be an issue for individual small holding farmers to be able to transport, right? That's a big infrastructure challenge, no?
In a way,
No?
because now what they are doing is, let's say 3, 4, 5 farmers get together and hire a truck and then move on that. So maybe if one wanted to move alone, then that's how the challenge would come. I don't know what
Before I go to Solarm, I wanted to share with you, I'm asking this question. This is from Vietnam, from the earlier session. Look at this photo, like, the small holding farmers, a little beyond subsistence farming, they literally take the bicycle into the city and then go up the stairs and steps, and look at how they're carrying. So, and, to be able to pay like a market stall fee at a public market, to be part of a market system, it's really, really hard. So I'm at this, it's also beautiful images. So I've been thinking about this. That's why I just wanted to share with you. This is like, I think, not very unusual for some countries and cities. But Solam, what about you? What do you think? What is the biggest challenge in your mind from your experience in establishing a farmers market's corner in an existing market?
Yes, I want to go with Bonnie. In addition to that, not only the middlemen, but the city authorities must be engaged, because in one way or the other, they are the ones who manage these market facilities. And the major challenge, as Bonnie was saying, is the price difference. The middlemen or the market women in the market, they tend to sell their produce at a higher price. The farmer may come to the market and be at the farmer's market corner and the existing market, which for them, based on what they have invested, they may be selling it a bit lower than what the middlemen would have been selling at the market. So there will be resistance from them. And through that resistance, ability to be able to manage and balance, create a balance between these two will be a difficulty. And then, as we said, the authorities engaging them and their ability to be able to understand that the farmers may not be able to pay for the space as the market women, the middlemen can pay for in terms of the levies, the dues that they are expected to pay is another thing that we have to be able to look at clearly. And I think this will really, really be a hurdle for the farmers.
Tell us about you are leading the Ghana Farmers Markets Network. How many markets in your organization and what do they look like? Where are they? How big? You know, those things.
So we have about 11 markets so far. And these markets, we normally organize them on occasions. We don't have regular markets. We use occasions to be able to organize this. And most of these occasions, at least every month, we tend to have an occasion in a place or the other that we tend to organize it. So we just announced on radio and the community information centers that farmers will be bringing their produce to the farmers market on this day. Maybe during the Easter, we organize. During a festival, we know Ghana, we have a different festival for different tribes or communities. So based on that, if they are organizing things like that, we tend to also participate by organizing the farmers market. And almost every month we try to organize it. It is a call, a high demand that we should organize regularly. But at this stage, based on the logistics that we have, we think that if we want to organize regularly, we may not be able to fulfill all the what it takes for us to be able to organize it and organize as well. So we rather look at the occasions, collaborate with people who are organizing the programs, create a space, and then we tend to sell our produce directly to the consumers. What we also do is that as we organize these things, we get in contact with bigger organizations like the hotels and then the malls, who now later for you to let you connect the farmers directly to them. But they want it in large quantities. As Bonnie said, that our farmers, most of them are on subsistence basis. So to be able to get a regular product and be supplying these people becomes a difficulty. So occasions if we also get in touch with them to tell them we have this type of product at this stage. If they need it, we quickly arrange and then we send it to them. That is what we normally do in our farmers market network.
It is so challenging you start you have to have enough demand and then you have to have supply and then you grow the demand and supply grows, that whole chain reaction needs to get going. And that's why I think, starting in upscale communities, that happens often, maybe all the time to get started. Because you need the farmers to make enough money and then grow more to come back. But then how do we actually bring it to, communities where farmers markets are really needed as well? It's not just the upscale community, right? So that's a challenge. And Bone, the farmers markets corners you're talking about, who coordinates those markets? Who runs them? You're muted.
You are talking about the existing farmers markets?
The market corner, you talked about the pilots. Who
Farmers market corner.
them?
Farmers market corner.
Ah, okay. Now, from what I found out, at least in the markets that are having farmers, they have their own management. They have, let's say, a farmers management committee in place.
The committee, okay.
Yeah. So that is the one that is now running or is likely to run the affairs of the farmers corner in a market. I think markets where they are having farmers on a weekly basis, I've not interacted with them yet to find out how the management is. But for those that are doing it on a daily basis, at least they have that committee and we can replicate it anyway. Yeah, it is not very hard to replicate if the practice is sustainable.
Do you think, Salarm, Is it possible to run a farmers markets corner in, in one of your locations in Ghana?
It's very, very possible. As I said, the markets in the rural areas, they don't have much issues because most of the markets in the rural areas is farm produce markets. But it is in the city that we have those mostly those bottlenecks. So our ability to be able to talk with the city authorities and then make special arrangements that will let them give us a space where we can be operating all the time. It is very possible. And it may take some short period of time for us to be able to organize this. I think it's a very good concept for us, especially with those in the academia who are helping the student to practice what we teach them. If we have those ones, especially in the cities, they will tend to be, as they have been our stewards and volunteers, they will tend to be also learning much from that one. So we can push for it. And the university can also give us their backing for us to be able to do that and start piloting such a thing in our cities to see how best to make farmers market sustain.
Okay, so then that's great. So one the last questions, last question in the slide that I had was, what are some potential steps? So if we imagine a place where there's no farmers market, and then we go all the way to a space where we have dedicated farmers market space. Farmers market corner is one step. It's a great step forward. What other steps, what other intermediate steps do you think we need for you to get to where you have a regular coordinated farmers market? That's one question. The other question is your opinion. Do you think a successful farmers market must have its own dedicated space? Is that the end goal? Or can we coexist in a farmers market corner as long as it works? Would that be the end goal? Those are two questions.
Goes first. I go first.
Okay.
Beginning with that, okay. Begin with the last question. I think the end goal should not stop at a pilot. I think the end goal should be inspiring the existing vendors to adopt what the farmers are doing, even if they don't have the supply of the vendor. But these farmers, at least if they can deliver organic foods on a daily basis, if they can show us they can sustainably sell organic foods, then we can easily influence the other vendors. And also, I think the farmers can come in a bit different. Instead of selling like these other people selling on the ground, they can come in with their own stuff, have their own dedicated storage facilities, better platforms on which they are selling. So you come in a bit different and unique, such that the other people can replicate. It will also encourage to in reducing that gap, the gap between the upscale communities and the informal, so that they all come into the market, because we don't want foods distributed that we are selling to the different sections of the community. Let them all come to the market. Even if you are upscale, you come in the market, you're welcome. So I think that it should not stop at the pilot.
Dedicated farmers market is the end goal. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
All right. Then to handle the other part of the question, what evolving steps we can do. I think I've already hinted that we need now, in Uganda at least, we need to find out where they are. In Ghana, they already have them. In Uganda, we don't, although there are a group of people who have gotten together, but we need now to know where they are, what they are doing, where they're operating from, and then the many others that are out there. We need to find out who they are. Then we also need to begin to bring the different stakeholders into the conversation. There are so many people, the farmers themselves, what do they think about this corner? We may be here advocating for it when they just want to stop at the gate or at the farm. So we need to pull those different stakeholders, government, city managers, and all. Then the other thing also I talked about earlier is the legal framework we need to reform such that we incorporate farmers markets into our legal systems and all of that. So that's what I think.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Solar, please.
Yes, I think I want to agree with him on most of the things he said. In addition to that, we really need to be able to know the characteristics of the farm, the market structure within the cities that we have, and then engage. That one we have to do it and do it more. Engage with the authorities, engage with the managers of the market, and then as the farmers, we also need to engage with them to be able to know the kind of product, the standard, the quality product that they have to bring to the market. And as I said, the farmers may not have that amount of money to pay for the levy. So we need to, that's what I'm saying, that we need to look at the structure and see how best we can differentiate between what the farmers package can be as against what is existing, so that that place can be taken care of. Yes, for me, yes, the farmers market can have a hybrid of both the isolated farmers market, and then if we want to go into the farmers market corner, that will also help us be able to create awareness. As we are talking about some of our cities now, or the countries that we have in Africa, most of them, farmers market is a new thing. So we are still talking with people for them to be able to understand. So creating awareness is very important. We'll continue creating awareness for them to know the benefits and then the things that they can derive from such opportunities that the farmers market present to the society.
Oh, I need another 30 minutes to talk to you, hear you about
Surely.
how we can help you in terms of, the coalition. We need to map your markets. We can probably help you with this, to study the existing efforts for the market's impact. We need investment for all of this. We need to find stakeholders and engage rather stakeholders and investors. What other training the coalition can offer. So many thoughts. Thank you so much for your time today and for the conversation. I just want, I'm going to ask you to open your camera in a second just for a photo moment. But I also wanted to, yeah. I also wanted to just remind everybody, if you are not already, please follow us on Facebook. These are the names and handles. Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're in all 4 social media platforms. And if you have any questions about any of these, please email us at info at worldfmc.org. Okay, now we're going to open your camera for 5 seconds for a photo. Really, really helpful. And this month was interesting in that 2 sessions, the earlier session and this session had different presentation, one from Vietnam and the other from Uganda. So I really wish that you were able to hear both of them. But we cover the big world. It's really not possible to have 1 hour, but we keep trying. Thank you for being here today. We're at the top of the hour. We will see you in May for the next topic studio, and you can follow our social media to find out what the topic will be. Salorm and Bone, thank you so much, my friends. Thank you for being here. I learned so much from you.
Thank you too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Robbie.